Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Build stronger relationships with customers via lead nurturing. Now, if you're a coach or consultant that is passionate about doing the work that you're meant to be doing and living an inspired life while doing it, you've come to the right place, my friend. My mission is to help coaches and consultants like yourself to build a brand that they're proud of and create a lifestyle that you love. But how do you build a brand that you're proud of while you're creating a lifestyle that you love? You gotta have leads and clients that are actually paying you to stay in business. So today we're going to be looking about a good nurturing strategy that can actually drive more positive results for your business. And you know, my mission is to make sure that you create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And we're going to be touching on a lead nurturing, as a strategy that businesses actually use to maintain and grow relationships with their potential customers. And we're also going to be looking at what lead nurturing is and how it can actually help you gain your audience trust and increase sales. We're also going to be talking about thought leadership and how when you nurture people, when they get to know, like, and trust you, you now have an opportunity to actually create for and demand money off of them. And we're also going to be looking at the several lead nurturing strategies that you can actually attract, such as maybe focusing on content marketing, using data, to target your prospects, and also using email marketing and learning more about your audience via just literally speaking to them. So this podcast is for coaching and consulting professionals who want to build stronger relationships with their customers via lead nurturing. I understand, and I know that the biggest problem that you have as an entrepreneur is growing a business and attracting people to it and also keeping them. How do you maintain and nurture all these relationships while you're also providing a service that these people will always keep coming back for? I want to ask you a question. Have you got a streamlined nurturing process within your business that people can come to, get all the information that they need, and be able to know, like, and trust you, and even refer work to you, just predicated on the fact that you're nurturing them and giving them value? You do understand that we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace, right? Otherwise, you're in the wrong place, my friend. So let's just start off with what lead nurturing is and what it's not. Because a lot of people think that when you just cold call potential clients or maybe send them copious amounts of emails, you're nurturing those leads. Sometimes you're actually hurting your brand more than nurturing. So nurturing is all about taking care of. It's all about looking after. You know, when you've got a seedling or you've got a plant and you're maybe looking after it, you're watering it, you're making sure it's got the right temperature around it, you're protecting it from birds and things of that nature, okay? So just like nurturing your plants or your kids or any other relationship, nurturing leads is important to the growth of any business, be it a coach or consultant or small to medium business. If you're giving people, health advice or wealth advice or relationship advice, you do understand it's not a one and done process. You gotta work with them up until they get the transformation or the results that they're looking for. So while you're nurturing them, you have to be putting out your consulting out there, your training, your information, your expertise, and your paid speaking gigs, just so that people get to understand and get more value from the knowledge that you have. And how do you then do this without burning out? And how do you do this consistently? Because, like I said, it's not a one done, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of endeavor. Okay, there's research that has been put into this. If you don't nurture your relationships, if you don't nurture your own well-being, you're obviously not going to be having any sort of positive return on whatever investment that you would have put in. And we all understand that marketing is an investment. So you want to invest that time you've taken out to generate those leads and then nurture them so that they become customers who pay, stay, and refer. So there's research that has been done about nurturing leads, and I think there's more from Forrester. They say that companies or businesses that are successful at nurturing leads actually generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a 33% lower cost. So if you're nurturing your leads, you're literally lessening your marketing spend, and you're actually getting much more of a return on whatever money you would have spent. And if you've got a process that is streamlined and it's active, that is turning those leads into active clients, then you will be recuperating any losses that you would have made on the journey to getting those leads into your system. But one thing always happens when people hear something, they just run with it as if it's a buzzword. Lead nurturing can actually fall by the wayside to a lot of companies because they always just love the acquisition part of it, but they're not then going out there to nurture the relationships. It's like with nature. It's the joy of acquisition. It's that gaining sort of aspect, and then people don't end up looking after their acquisitions. People go in and buy a property, and you see outside there's a lot of weeds, and they're not looking after that property. They're not nurturing that property. So if you haven't already implemented a lead nurturing strategy, you should consider doing so. And I advise, if you want to create a business that's profitable and enjoyable and call yourself an internet explorer, my friend, you should have funnels and lead generating and need nurturing strategies that you can get from us. So if you haven't designed a strategy like that, why don't you get on a call with one of our consultants so we can actually help you create a business that you're actually going to be proud of and you can actually enjoy working in. But before we get started, you need to make sure you actually understand why lead nurturing is important and what strategies you can actually apply to your own business, because there's no point in you just implementing something that you are never going to be using. It has to be part of your business model optimization. And that's also something that we will look at when you give Live Long Digital a call, so we can help you with your lead nurturing. Okay, so you might be confused. We're 7 minutes in and you're thinking, what is lead nurturing? I'm getting leads, turning them into customers, but why do I need to nurture them? If they're going to buy from me, they're going to buy from me anyway. Wrong. Lead nurturing is when your business actually builds relationships with your prospect, okay? You need to be creating customers for the products that you have, and that's the point of you nurturing those leads. Because if you've got a tier of products that people can buy from you, you need to educate them on what you have to offer. You need to educate them on the advantages and the benefits of working with you and things of that nature. You need to teach people what to want, and it's through lead nurturing that you can actually build these relationships. As we all know, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. So people are not just gonna wake up and start buying from you just because you exist, my friend. No. It doesn't work like that. You see, it's quite funny. Every coach or consultant or some of the small to medium business owners that we sort of end up working with, they just dream of having a perfect customer that just arrives from seemingly nowhere, already convinced that they're gonna buy. It doesn't work like that. And I always joke about this. When I was growing up, I used to watch Mr. Bean a lot, Rowan Atkinson, and when his skits were starting, Mr. Bean will just fall from seemingly nowhere into the spotlight, and eventually he then just starts acting, and people think that their customers are just going to be falling from I don't know where. So you need to create that system within your business, because once you now have more demand for your services, guess what you can do? You can actually raise your prices. You can start firing all those lousy clients that just unrealistic with their expectations, and you can actually start choosing the products and projects that you love delivering to your customers, not necessarily just because somebody is paying you, and you literally can expand your business. All right. So this is what I'm offering you, with this podcast here, and also an opportunity for you to schedule a call with one of our consultants so that you can literally get your lead nurturing systems put in place. All right. So it's a very important aspect, when it comes to inbound marketing, which is you're using content marketing, social media, and other online communication methods to actually attract customers' attention. All right. People are busy out there. They're not necessarily going to be waiting, to get your information. You constantly have to be in their face, out of sight, out of mind. Okay. But you're not in the face, just asking them to buy from you. You're giving them value, and people, will always appreciate the value that you are asking them, to work with them and things of that nature. All right. So, as you know, when a potential customer sort of finds your business for the first time, they may not actually be ready to make a purchase there and there. They need to size you up. Are you the right kind of supplier with the right kind of, products or services that they're looking for, and things of that nature, right? So it is now the duty, or the onus is on you to nurture that person up until they actually find a reason to start working with you, or to actually maybe book a consultation with you or not, right? So they're not ready to purchase immediately. So nurturing leads, or nurturing that lead, is now an effective strategy for driving that person up until they go through to the sales process. So that's what you need to be doing, because not everyone is just going to convert immediately, and you can actually start keeping top of mind to that prospect so that they can come back when they're good and ready to actually buy from you. Okay. So lead nurturing is actually similar to any relationship, like I mentioned earlier, right? The more you put in, the more you're actually going to get out of it. If you have a relationship with your spouse, or with a vendor, or with any supplier, if you're not going to do your part to make sure that the people get to know you, get to understand you, get to like you a little bit more, it's going to be difficult for them to then transact with you later on down the track. All right. So the more you put in, the more you actually get out of it. And if you fail to strengthen that relationship, you naturally sort of drift apart from that person. And the best way for you to nurture these leads is by using a lead nurturing system, and that can be derived from whatever CRM that you're using currently. All right. So lead nurturing is actually a process of building your relationship with the prospect, so that eventually, in the end, they may buy from you or refer to you, if somebody asks of the products that you are putting out there. Okay. And you actually start earning trust before the sales process even begins. And you can literally design a self-guided path for the customer to follow. Customers do not see funnels, but they look at the ease of getting information, because people are coming to the internet to get information. And if they're going to get that information from you, then obviously we do know that they get to know, like, and trust you. So that's why it's very important for you to nurture your leads, because you're literally building your own customer base. All right. Not a lot of people are doing this in the marketplace. They're just expecting, people to come through immediately, already willing and able to buy from them. No. It doesn't work like that, because when you go to the marketplace, all right, just imagine this. 3% of the market is willing and able and ready to make a purchase there immediately. And then you've got like a 60% of people that still need a lot of convincing, that still need a lot of information, and that still need to make a decision. All right. And it may take between, 1 hour to 1 year. All right. So who is going to be creating for and relating to those people while nurturing them. The person who stays longest or the person who sends the last email is the person who's going to win that customer. All right. So once somebody comes to your website, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've already made up their mind they're going to buy from you. No, they're just browsing. And, with the attention spans that people have these days, you want to capture their email so that you can nurture them up until they're good and ready, all right? And they don't feel pressured, because people like buying stuff, but they don't like to be sold to. And once somebody has already made a purchase with you, that trust has already been exchanged, so they will be able to buy more stuff. And that's why it's imperative that you've got a product ladder behind the scenes. That's where all the money is made, all right? I mean, although the ultimate goal of lead nurturing is to drive sales, you also will derive a lot more benefits if you've got a seamless way for people to be introduced to your business. Okay, first of all, if I refer somebody to your website, if they don't quite know you as such, they might not want to go onto a consultation with you, but they will be more than willing to download something or an information pack and exchange that with their email address, and that referral is not lost. Okay, so many people just assume that when somebody comes to their website, they're already confident enough to call them and talk to them. It doesn't really work like that, because we are always in our industry, we are always in our business, we're transacting with a lot more people like that. Usually for people coming in for relationship issues, it's usually a private matter that they don't want to just start speaking to anyone that they come across. They want to get to know you a little bit and then understand your methodology, your values, and things of that nature. And then when they're comfortable and good and ready, then they can come to you and speak to you about whatever it is that you are offering. So, if you've got a nice and proper nurturing system within your business, it can actually introduce prospects to your company, because lead nurturing is an effective way to teach prospects about your services and products that you're offering. Okay, not everyone is going to understand every minute detail of what you're offering, but gradually they get to learn more about your business and they get to like you and trust you, and eventually they do business with you. All right, so you might not have enough space on a landing page or on your website, in and of itself, or in a video or in a podcast like this, to truly explain the impact of your products and your services. Every podcast that I put out there, if you've noticed, it's just one subject, so that I'm not overwhelming you with so much information and content. Today we're just talking about lead nurturing. This is also part of lead nurturing, what I'm doing, speaking to you in your own spare time. It's not like we have both scheduled to listen to this podcast. Of course, I scheduled to create this podcast so that I can nurture my leads. Depending on what stage you are in my funnel, you might use this as yet another building block towards building the trust that you already have for our business, or actually getting the fundamental knowledge that will help you create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And eventually, if you then want us to help you with getting the more return on the investment that you're putting in your marketing, you can then maybe pick up the phone and call us, because now you already understand my voice, you already understand my temperament, you may like my jokes or not, or whichever way, you have at least gotten a glimpse of me without you having invested your time, money, and effort in getting to know what it's going to be like when you have bought from us. All right, so this is, when you're nurturing your leads, you want to drip feed them, not to overwhelm them with all the content that you have. And lead nurturing actually allows you to show your potential customers a more complete picture of who you are and what it is that you can do for them. You can't get this energy just by looking at my website. You get it by you then engaging with my podcast and then saying, you know what, if this guy can give us so much free information, for free, I can imagine what it's like to work with him when we're actually paying him. Okay. And guess what that does? It helps you gain your audience trust. Every single time that you're listening to this podcast, you have now become accustomed, and it's become a reliable source of your information or entertainment or edutainment, no matter how you classify this podcast as. All right, because we're always snitching on our customers. So the more you you end up becoming in our ecosystem, maybe one podcast is going to be dedicated for you. So you're getting warmer by listening to every episode of the Online Prosperity Experience. So it helps you gain audience trust, because when you show your potential customers that you actually understand their pain points and you're giving them useful tips, and it helps you connect with your audience and actually gain their trust. Because if somebody can hear that you can articulate their problem more than they can articulate it themselves, then they automatically assume that you've got a solution to the problem that you are trying to address with them. So if you share your knowledge, it actually lets them know that the relationship isn't just about your company making a sale, but it's also about providing them with the necessary tools and information for them to make informed decisions, whether is it about their health, their wealth, or relationships that they might be coming to you for. And there's one thing that us coaches and consultants really love to be known as a thought leader in our space. Because if you create thoughtful and relevant content, it actually communicates who you are and what people can expect from you before they've actually engaged with you. So lead nurturing can actually boost your reputation and help you be seen as a leader within your industry. Every time you stop to subscribe to the Online Prosperity Experience, that's a credibility and social proof that is coming from yet another listener and yet another person who can actually vouch for me and say, you know what, I haven't actually worked with this guy, but I've listened to his podcast and I actually think he's the right guy for the job. Okay. And one thing that it actually does is it helps your audience remember you. You know how I call my audience? You are an Internet Explorer. Yes, we got that name when Microsoft, sunsetted their product, the Internet Explorer, and we inherited that name, okay? So now you can remember me as the guy who snitches on his clients, and I'm also an Internet Explorer because we're trying to find information around the internet so we can create businesses that are profitable and enjoyable, okay? I'm no longer that digital marketer who's just in your inbox trying to sell you SEO. Okay, so if you communicate regularly with your prospects, they will likely remember you, and you stay top of mind, and that is essentially helpful. So they will turn to you when they need or want the products that you are offering. Okay, you just want to give people enough ammunition for them to actually make an informed decision, and people don't buy if they are confused. All right, a confused customer does not buy. All right, and once you start doing a lot of these work, right? For me, this is now my daily routine. This is now the thing that I do every single day, and I get so many responses. I get so many, referrals and people sharing each and every one of these episodes. And this is your cue, my Internet Explorer friend, to share this episode if you're getting value from it. You know what? Because the more the episodes are shared, the more your blogs are shared, the more your content is shared, it actually reduces your customer acquisition costs. Yesterday, the last episode of the Online Prosperity podcast, we were talking about how to reduce your marketing spend to zero. The more content you have on the internet, the lesser your acquisition costs become, because half of the time we are trying to convince people that we are the expert that they need. But if you've got a body of work that speaks for itself, people will undoubtedly bid a path to your door. Okay, so lead generation actually allows you to turn less expensive methods of attracting customers, and you start spending less on marketing, and it's actually good for your customer acquisition costs. All right, because you start reducing the amount that you spend on ads, because this podcast can literally be transferred into a blog post. A blog post can attract 1,000 people. This podcast may attract 1,000 downloads. It's one piece of content that I've created, and then we can then chop up either the podcast or the blog into reels, and then those reels go in and get more people on social media. It's always fresh content, but it's the same piece of content that would have been duplicated and repurposed so that we can actually reach more audiences without having to pay a single dime for its production. All right, so you can literally reduce your customer cost by creating a lead nurturing system where you're actually feeding your audience with the right kind of information, latest tips and tricks that they can use in order to make their lives better. And if you can help people have a happier existence, guess what? They would obviously be loyal to the work that you're putting out there, and you never have to beg people to buy from you or to hire your services. You know why? Because they already understand and know that you're the right person for this, okay? And eventually, you know what happens? You literally can increase your own sales, because when you're nurturing these leads, you can actually turn prospects into higher quality leads. At the back end of your business, you probably have 3 or 4 different products that some people will just buy on the way out. Have you ever noticed in shops when you're going towards the counter or the till, there's always little knickknacks, things that can fit into your basket no matter how full it is. Small magazines and small things that you can just pick up for $1 or whatever it is. That's just increasing the buying capacity of the customer. So you can literally increase sales by sending them out emails and showing people how to make the most out of the products that you're selling them. So if you're not nurturing those leads, you will not be able to actually have higher ticket sales, because people will only buy or spend that much money when they're actually confident that you're the right kind of person with the right kind of offers that they're looking for. And once you have a lead generation system, you can start to create diverse recurring revenue streams from different products that you already have. So you literally start creating products for the customers that you have, not looking not having to look for customers for the products that you already have or things of that nature. And you can actually start creating streams of income that are passive, because if you're sending out emails, you don't necessarily have to be there for that customer to be convinced that you are the right fit for the job. And you can skyrocket your profitability and show that your business remains 100% bulletproof, even during market downturns, even during global pandemics, and even during any sweeping lockdowns. You can increase the ratio and the frequency of sales that your customers will be having just because you're nurturing them, okay? And there's what's called reciprocity. The more value you give to somebody and they actually get real life results, guess what's going to happen? They are literally going to turn back and say, hey, thank you so much. And the only way our customers know how to thank us is through our credit cards, okay? So at the end of the day, people that have been nurtured, people that have been in your system for quite a while, actually purchase more and more than happy to refer people that would have worked with you. And all you now have to do while you're nurturing your leads is to deliver outstanding results for your clients, and then you can win their loyalty for life. And then customers will literally start singing your praises to their family, their friends, colleagues at barbecues, or even strangers on the bus. So it is actually like a perpetual cycle. Once you start nurturing these leads, they keep coming back for more. And if people are getting a good service, why else would they lead? Okay, so lead nurturing is actually important for increasing sales, but it can also improve your company's reputation and also help you gain your audience trust. Okay, so you might be asking and wondering, how do I do this? You can literally use email marketing to nurture these leads. Okay, you can literally start putting out content. Okay, first of all, with email marketing, you want to find the right email marketing tools that can help you take much of the heavy lifting off of your shoulders. And if you reach out to us, we can show you what it is that we're working with and what we're using. If right now I can suspect, and I literally know that you have you've received an email from us. That's why you're listening to this podcast. And it's now become nature or second nature to you to actually look out for our emails, all right? And then once you've got the strategy in place, you want to build out your content marketing, because content marketing is an incredibly useful strategy, that helps you create for and relate to the audience, all right? So your content marketing feeds into your lead nurturing strategy in ways that you would never think of. You could create blog posts, books, frequently asked questions, how do articles, webinars, research reports, all of that information that people are coming for to the internet, you will be the one that is providing them. And you can then distribute all that information through social media, okay? So at the end of the day, you now have in your arms, and you have heard such a big strategy that you can literally work with in order to create for and relate to your audience. And if you want us to work with you, just schedule a call with me, and we'll develop a strategic plan, and then just look at your ideal client clarity, because you need to be nurturing people that you love working with and people that would actually give you a perfect return on your investment. And then we'll look at the strategic messaging and look at what offers and the pricing that you're putting out there. And if your business has not been optimized with a lead capturing funnel or a lead nurturing system, then we'll implement that and create a proper business model optimization. And then we'll then help you set up your marketing engine and lead generation system so you can consistently attract the ideal clients that are easy to nurture and that you absolutely love working with. All right. And one other thing is, you want to follow up. The transaction doesn't end with the receipt, okay? Follow up with your leads after you've made the sale, because lead nurturing just doesn't end after the sale. Because after a customer is bought from you, you want to, add more to their purchase, and you want to keep them coming back, because you're likely to have customers that spend 3 times as much as somebody who's just bought once from you, okay? So you now have in your hands a system that can help you create a business that you absolutely love, and a business that you're actually proud of, and a brand and a lifestyle that you will love. I don't know what you're going to do with this lead nurturing information, but it was designed for you, my Internet Explorer friend. And why don't you reach out to us so that we can help you create a business that is profitable and enjoyable, and you can actually start doing the work that you were meant to be doing and leave all the heavy lifting to experts like us. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au